George back with another video. Golf is cancelled today. One of my mates texted at 1:30, still drinking. The other text 20 minutes to go and play, and he texts and says can't be asked, which means he's half pished. So it's a day inside, I guess, playing records, maybe wash some records, don't know. So I've got 11 records I've got in the last 3 weeks. Quickly show you them. Randall Weaver's a big Grateful Dead fan, and I didn't have any Grateful Dead, so you get something in your head. So dived up to the local record shop, 5 minutes away walk, and had a look in their Grateful Dead, and this is the only album they had. Anthem of the Sun from 1968. Probably not the best first album the Grateful Dead to buy on Warner Brothers. It's a strange album because it's a mix of studio and live music, and I think they're cut into each other. Fantastic cover, so I guess you've got to be pretty trippy to listen to this. Needs a few more listens, so yeah, I played it a couple of times, and probably not their best, but interesting. So I was in there, he had somebody handed in a load of Marvin Gaye albums, so there's one I've been wanting to add to the collection. Let's Get On, I think from 73 on Motown. Great song, the Black Motown label. Really good album. I have a few Marvin Gaye in the collection anyway, but this fills a little gap. Everybody knows Marvin Gaye, great soul singer, fantastic album. So I was quite bored 2 or 3 weeks ago. Golf must have been cancelled again, and what's a man supposed to do? Trying not to buy as many records, but went into town, went into my old record shop, retro Vinyl Villains, and had a look in there. Jazz, didn't have anything decent. So I thought, I'll have a look in T, because there's one Traffic album I don't have, and they actually had it, and it's in great condition. It's On the Road from 1973. It's a double LP. Looks quite like a Kraftwerk LP, I would say. Nothing like Kraftwerk though. Island label, a custom label there. Traffic, yeah, fantastic. Stevie Winwood's, can't go wrong. This is a fantastic jam album. You know, there's only 2, 4, 6, 7 tracks on it. One track on the last side, Low Spark for High Heel Boys on track side 4. Fantastic album. Great nick, original. Fantastic condition. Great to finish my Traffic collection off. Very good album. So when I was there, I had a look in the folk. So I only looked at jazz, folk, and tea, looking for that. So yeah, they had a Pentangle album. I'm looking out for more Pentangle. I thought this was another double live album I was buying. Basket of Light from 71, I think it is. It's on a nice transatlantic label. I think this is considered probably their best album. And of course in the band we have Bert Jansch He does a lot of the songwriting and singing. John Renborn, a lot of the writing. We have Danny Thompson on bass, and can't remember the females. She does a lot of vocals. Yeah, fantastic album, great, really great. So I need to fill out my Pentangle collection, Basket of Light. So back in my local record shop, got an upgrade of this picture book, history book, compilation from 71, I think. Transatlantic label. That's it. Jackie McShee's does most of the vocals, and Terry Cox on drums was the other. Yeah, so this was only £8, great value, great condition. Mother album was thrashed a bit. And when you've got an album that doesn't sound too great, you never play it. It just gets, it was washed and put away, and it still was never that great. So it's nice to get a trade in. Pentangle, fantastic band. So Rob Walker showed this album a few weeks ago. Rob's trying to get into a bit more jazz when he sees it, and he picked up this Impulse Records compilation from 1972. I think Rob got the Canadian. It was only released in Canada and the States. This is a US. I think Rob's was a Canadian. So I'll try to collect more Impulse Records. Great compilation. So Pharoah Sanders, John Coltrane, Alice Coltrane, John Cleamer, Hamad Jamal, Clifford Coulter, Archie Shepp, Chico Hamilton, Milt Jackson, and then the B-side you have another Archie Shepp track and an Alice Coltrane track. And you know, when they're doing fantastic cover, when they're doing a compilation album to highlight the record company's artists, why on a single album do the same artist twice? Don't know. Fantastic album though. Glad to have it. Local record shop, Don Cherry's self-titled from 1976, I think. And my man's had this in a while. Always been looking at it, and I thought Don Cherry was quite a avant-garde, difficult jazz artist. But this is far from it. It's there's only one track per side, which I really like. I think people refer to this album as Brown Rice. And there's another 3 tracks. You've got some different artists. Billy Higgins is on drums, Charlie Hayden's on bass. And there's voices on this. So a bit vocal. More a world music album, I would say. I was really surprised with this. I thought it was going to be difficult, but I've looked at it in his shop going, I'm going to eventually buy this if nobody gets it. And it's a repress from a year or 2 ago. It's really good. Real cool album. So, look out for more Don Cherry. Also in my shop, he buys albums he thinks I'll like, and this is from the London jazz scene, released a few months ago, and it's Sons of Kemet. The album's called Back to the Future. I think this is maybe their 3rd LP. Double album. So it's really quite bassy, drums, percussion, 2 main characters, Shabaka Hutchings, and he plays woodwinds, Theon Cross, tuba, a lot of tuba on it, and it's actually really good. And Tom Skinner plays drums, and Edward Wahaki Hick plays drums. And then there's some various artists, there's tenor sax, there's quite a bit of vocals on the album, which blends in with sort of ethnic sound. A couple of tenor sax players come in, a bit trumpet here or there, and some vocals. Really good album, really enjoying it. You know, when you buy an album you've never heard, and a jazz album, you're just thinking it's going to be a lot of blowing trumpets and saxophones, and this is really different, really cool. I've been wanting to get a lot more London jazz scene stuff, so this is another one I've picked up and glad to have done it. Sons of Kemet. 3 more to go, and they're probably predictable. 2 Blue Note classics, and we've got one of my favourites, Herbie Hancock, Maiden Voyage from 1963-4. Fantastic album. Blue Note 4195. We have Freddie Hubbard trumpet, George Coleman tenor sax, Herbie obviously on piano, the great Ron Carter on bass, and Anthony Williams on drums. 5 tracks, and they're all Herbie songs, and I like that. I like when a jazz artist does all their own tracks. You know, there's a lot of thought being put into it, and they're not just plain standards. So this is a fantastic album, really enjoy it. Herbie Hancock. And the other Blue Note classics is an upgrade again for me, is Eric Dolphy, Out to Lunch. Now at £20 you wouldn't think you could get an upgrade, but I had a cheap European copy, which was okay, but this is a lot better, all analog obviously. Blue Note 4163, again we've got Freddie Hubbard on trumpet, Eric Dolphy plays alto sax, flute and bass clarinet, Bobby Hutchins on vibes, Richard Davis on bass, and Anthony Williams on drums again. So we have 5 Eric Dolphy tracks. It's from 64, and I've heard folks saying this is should be in every jazz collection. Well, maybe yes and maybe no. It's quite a, for 1964, it's still quite an avant-garde, moving on to free jazz almost, stepping away. It's more experimental. So if you're new to jazz and you don't need this, it's not essential. It is if you're heavily into jazz. Fantastic album, gets you thinking, and you've got to pay attention when you listen to this one. Eric Dolphy, Out to Lunch, really good album. And last but not least, I only got 1 tone pot this month. That's the start of me slowing down. It's obviously Wayne Shorter, The All Seeing Eye. I think this is from 66. And again, this is Wayne Shorter. You could call this a concept album. It's about God and the forming of the world, as in the title All Seeing Eye. There's 5 tracks in this: Genesis, Chaos, etc. Now, there's quite a few horn players in here. We've got Freddie Hubbard again, trumpet and flugelhorn. So you think it's going to be quite a blow-in album. Alan Shorter, his brother, writes 1 track of the 5. Alan Shorter on flugelhorn again, which I love the flugelhorn. Kraken Munker the third on trombone, or Gratian Munker. Jackie Spaulding, alto sax, Wayne Shorter, tenor sax. Then you've got the great Herbie Hancock, piano, Ron Carter, bass, and Joe Chambers on drums. They're a fantastic album. So there's a lot of horn players on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But it's far from being a blowing album. Again, it's getting more into quite experimental, spiritual jazz, a wee bit like Andrew Hill and McCoy Tyner, a wee bit how they moved away from the hard bop. Fantastic album. It's a grower. It may not hit you the first time, but repeated plays. I played it twice, and it's I'm going to love it. It may have made my top 12. Wayne Shorter, The All-Seeing Eye. Okay then, that's it for this week, I guess. I'll catch you later. Bye now.